The deadly silence. How to make anyone obsessed with you without saying a word. In romantic and social relationships, we often believe that communication revolves around words. We've been conditioned to think that explaining, defending, and constantly expressing ourselves are the keys to connection. But what if silence, when used with purpose, could speak louder and leave a lasting impact? From love to friendship, we are taught to be vocal, to justify our emotions, and to engage in continuous conversation. Yet the Stoic philosophy presents us with a different perspective. Silence, when practiced with intention, can be far more powerful in creating intrigue, respect, and a deeper sense of connection. It challenges the idea that constant communication is necessary, and instead shows that true strength lies in self-restraint and emotional control. This video will explore how strategic silence, inspired by Stoicism, can transform the dynamics of your romantic and social relationships. It will help you make your presence unforgettable and leave others reflecting on your actions long after you've said nothing at all. Before we dive in, if you find value in this message, I invite you to subscribe and join this community where we strive to grow together. Only 15% of viewers are subscribed, so if this resonates with you, subscribing ensures you won't miss content designed to elevate your life. Let's begin this journey and uncover the power of silence as a tool for stronger, deeper, and more meaningful connections. Section 1. Silence as a display of emotional self-control. In both romantic and social relationships, one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is emotional self-control. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This Stoic insight emphasizes that while we cannot control what happens around us, we can always control how we react. Mastering this self-control is what sets Stoics, and those who practice their philosophy, apart from the rest. Stoicism teaches that controlling our reactions is the key to maintaining power in any situation. Whether in love or friendship, the person who can keep their emotions in check holds the true power, because they're not swayed by external forces. Instead, they remain grounded in their own sense of calm and purpose. This emotional self-control isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about preserving your peace and ensuring that you don't allow others to disrupt your inner balance. In romantic relationships, emotions can often run high. Disagreements, misunderstandings, and unmet expectations are all natural parts of any close connection. However, how you choose to respond in those moments can either deepen respect or erode it. Emotional outbursts or constant demands for validation undermine the foundation of respect in a relationship. They make you appear reactive and dependent on external approval, which can weaken your position in your partner's eyes. Instead, by choosing silence during heated moments, you demonstrate emotional maturity. This doesn't mean avoiding communication altogether, but rather taking a pause before reacting. Silence creates space for both you and your partner to reflect on the situation without escalating the conflict. It shows that you are in control of your emotions and that you're not easily provoked into unnecessary arguments. Over time, this ability to remain calm builds deep respect and trust within the relationship. Your partner begins to see you as someone who doesn't let fleeting emotions dictate their behavior, a mark of true strength. Imagine a situation where your partner accuses you of something unfairly. Instead of jumping into defensive mode or raising your voice, you pause, choosing to remain silent. In that silence, your partner is forced to reflect on their words, and you prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. This calm presence shows emotional resilience, which enhances respect and strengthens the connection. In your wider social circles, whether with friends or coworkers, silence can be just as effective. Not every disagreement or debate requires your participation. In fact, engaging in every argument or conflict can quickly drain your energy and lead to unnecessary stress. Stoicism teaches us that we do not need to react to every situation. Sometimes, holding back is the wiser and more powerful move. When you choose to remain silent in social situations, whether it's during a disagreement with a friend or a contentious conversation at work, you demonstrate that you are calm and composed. Silence shows that you are in control of your reactions, that you don't allow yourself to be provoked or drawn into every confrontation. It's a subtle but clear signal that your peace of mind is more important than winning an argument or proving a point. Example: let's say a coworker challenges your idea in a meeting in a way that feels confrontational. Rather than responding defensively or engaging in a verbal back and forth, you pause and remain silent. In that moment, your silence reflects that you are confident enough to let your idea stand on its own merit. The silence also speaks volumes, showing that you are not rattled by opposition and can rise above petty conflicts. Over time, this kind of restraint fosters respect and positions you as someone who is thoughtful, emotionally steady, and not easily provoked. In both romantic and social contexts, choosing silence protects your emotional energy. Every argument or outburst drains you, and over time this emotional exhaustion takes a toll. By practicing silence, you preserve your energy for situations that truly matter. You avoid getting caught up in trivial conflicts or pointless debates, and instead, you keep your focus on maintaining your inner peace. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're ignoring the issue. It means you're prioritizing your peace of mind over the need to react. This self-control allows you to navigate relationships in a way that promotes long-term harmony, rather than temporary satisfaction. In Stoicism, emotional self-control is power, and silence is its clearest display. Whether you're navigating romantic tensions or managing social relationships, choosing silence over impulsive reactions puts you in control of yourself and the situation. Silence, especially in moments where others expect a reaction, shows that you have mastered your emotions. It creates space for reflection, builds respect, and allows you to maintain your peace while engaging in relationships on your own terms. In every interaction, remember that silence can be your most powerful tool, a quiet yet undeniable display of strength and emotional mastery. Section 2. The mystery of silence, building attraction and curiosity in romantic and social relationships. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. Confucius. One of the most underestimated tools in relationships, whether romantic or social, is the mystery that comes from silence. Confucius's insight reminds us that silence, when used with intention, never fails us. While words can sometimes betray our thoughts, silence has the unique power to preserve curiosity and create intrigue. It compels others to wonder about us, leading to heightened respect and attraction. Silence creates curiosity and intrigue. In relationships, silence is not emptiness, it's an invitation. When used thoughtfully, silence opens a space for others to fill with their imagination. In a world where people are accustomed to oversharing and immediate responses, silence breaks the pattern. It creates a sense of mystery that draws others toward you, making them more curious about your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. The person who doesn't constantly reveal everything or rush to fill every silence becomes more intriguing. They are someone who holds back a little, allowing their presence and silence to carry weight. This mystery is not about manipulation. It's about giving people the mental space to reflect on you in ways they may not if you're constantly communicating. In both romantic and social contexts, strategic silence builds attraction and deepens respect. In love, especially in the early stages of a relationship, over-communicating or constantly seeking reassurance can easily diminish your value in the other person's mind. Constantly being available and expressive can make you predictable, and predictability over time leads to a loss of intrigue. However, when you choose to remain silent, especially after key moments or interactions, you create space for the other person to wonder. Instead of being predictable, you become someone who is a little more difficult to read, which enhances their desire to understand you. This is a classic principle in attraction. People are drawn to what they cannot fully grasp or control. Imagine you've just had a deep conversation or spent a meaningful evening with someone. Instead of immediately texting or following up, you choose silence. You let her reflect on the experience, giving her time to wonder about your thoughts and feelings. In that space, she is likely to feel a stronger connection because your silence gives her room to think about you. The mystery you create through silence builds attraction. As she begins to feel curious and invested in understanding you more deeply, silence allows her mind to fill in the gaps. When someone doesn't know exactly how you feel, they're more likely to spend time thinking about you, wondering what's going on in your head. This mental engagement is what fuels attraction. When someone is left to wonder, they naturally feel more drawn to you. In social relationships, whether with friends, colleagues, or acquaintances, silence can be an indicator of quiet confidence. Not everyone needs to be the loudest voice in the room or the person who shares every thought. In fact, those who choose silence selectively often command the most respect. People pay attention to what you say when they realize you don't speak unless you have something valuable to add. Think of a social gathering where everyone is sharing their opinions. While others rush to make their points, you choose to remain silent, listening attentively. When you finally speak, your words carry more weight because they are thoughtful and deliberate. Your silence creates an air of mystery, prompting others to pay closer attention to what you contribute. Over time, this makes you seem more insightful and composed, someone who doesn't speak just for the sake of being heard. In social settings, people tend to respect those who are selectively vocal. If you're someone who speaks only when necessary, your silence makes others value your contributions more. The intrigue that comes from silence elevates your presence, signaling that you don't need constant attention or validation to feel important. This kind of quiet confidence naturally draws people toward you, fostering deeper respect in both professional and personal circles. In both love and social relationships, silence creates a magnetic effect. It makes people wonder, think, and reflect on you in ways they wouldn't if you were always available and communicative. Mystery fuels attraction. It's human nature to be drawn to what we don't fully understand, or what isn't always immediately accessible. By using silence strategically, you cultivate a sense of mystery and depth. Whether you're in a romantic relationship, building friendships, or navigating professional settings, remember that not everything needs to be spoken. Sometimes silence is more powerful than words, as it allows others to engage more deeply with your presence, thoughts, and emotions. Ultimately, the Stoic perspective teaches us that silence can scream louder than words. It creates the space for attraction, curiosity, and respect to grow naturally, allowing your silence to speak for itself. Section 3. The power of not reacting. Letting silence speak in conflicts. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. Lao Tzu. In the heat of emotional situations, our instinct is often to react, defend, or argue to resolve the tension quickly. But as Lao Tzu suggests, True mastery comes not from controlling others, but from controlling ourselves. Silence, when used with intention, is a powerful tool that allows us to remain calm and composed during conflicts. By choosing silence over reaction, you maintain control, not just over the situation, but over your own emotions. In both romantic and social conflicts, silence can diffuse tension and guide the interaction toward a more peaceful resolution. Stoic philosophy, as well as the wisdom of Lao Tzu, teaches that emotional mastery is the key to navigating conflicts. When emotions are high, reacting impulsively often escalates the situation. Silence, on the other hand, removes the emotional fuel that drives conflict. It shifts the power back to you, allowing you to control your emotions and the flow of the situation. In many cases, silence speaks louder than any words could, because it communicates that you are in control, calm, and unshaken by external events. In romantic relationships, conflicts are inevitable. The desire to immediately explain or argue when disagreements arise is natural, but it often leads to misunderstandings, defensiveness, or escalating emotions. The more we try to win an argument, the more disconnected the relationship becomes. This is where silence plays a transformative role. Instead of engaging in a back-and-forth battle, silence diffuses tension and offers space for reflection. When both parties pause to gather their thoughts, emotions begin to settle, creating room for a calmer, more rational conversation. Silence also signals that you are not allowing the situation to dictate your emotional state, and that you are willing to wait for the right time to communicate more constructively. For example, during an argument, your partner may say something hurtful or unfair in the heat of the moment. Instead of reacting immediately with anger or defensiveness, you choose silence. In this silence, your partner may begin to recognize the weight of their words and the effect of the conflict. By not engaging, you allow the space for self-reflection, making it easier to return to the conversation later with clarity and calmness. Silence is not avoidance. It's a tool to control the escalation of emotions. By stepping back and choosing not to engage in every moment of tension, you allow both yourself and your partner to cool off and revisit the issue with a clearer perspective. This often leads to more productive conversations and prevents unnecessary emotional damage. In social settings, whether with friends, co-workers, or acquaintances, conflicts can arise over minor disagreements or misunderstandings. Often, these situations are fueled by ego or pride, and engaging in every small dispute only prolongs the tension. Silence becomes a way to de-escalate these conflicts, giving you control over your own reactions and removing the power from those who seek to provoke you. When someone tries to bait you into an argument, choosing not to respond immediately can disarm them. Silence forces the other person to reconsider their position, because they are not getting the reaction they expected. It can also prompt them to reflect on the situation from a different angle, leading to a more peaceful outcome. Imagine a colleague criticizes your work in front of others, hoping to provoke a reaction. Instead of jumping into defense mode or engaging in a public argument, you remain silent, choosing not to react. This throws them off, as their goal was to elicit a response. Over time, the lack of reaction on your part shows that you are unbothered and in control of your emotions. Eventually, the conflict fades, as there is no fuel to keep it alive. Silence allows you to keep control of the situation by refusing to play into provocations. Those who seek conflict are often looking for an emotional response. By not giving them what they want, you demonstrate emotional strength and composure, which often leads the other person to back down. Silence de-escalates the situation, and people begin to respect your ability to stay calm under pressure. Silence becomes a powerful form of non-reaction in both romantic and social conflicts. It communicates that you are in control of yourself, that you do not need to engage in every argument or dispute, and that you value your inner peace over temporary emotional victories. In relationships, silence creates space for reflection, allowing both partners to step back and approach the issue with greater clarity. In social or professional settings, silence disarms those seeking conflict, demonstrating that you are composed and unprovoked by minor disagreements. Remember, true power is not in reacting to every situation, but in mastering the ability to remain silent when needed. By letting silence speak for you, you show that you are the master of yourself, and through that mastery, you gain greater respect, deeper understanding, and healthier relationships. Section 4. Silence as a reflection of confidence and self-worth. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. True confidence doesn't require constant validation or verbal affirmation. As Marcus Aurelius suggests, instead of arguing or explaining what you stand for, simply embody it. Silence, when rooted in self-assurance, sends a message that you are secure in yourself. You don't need to prove your worth to others because your actions, character, and presence speak for themselves. Silence becomes a powerful reflection of confidence and inner strength, and the kind of quiet confidence that naturally draws respect from those around you. When you're confident in who you are, you don't feel the need to justify yourself constantly. Silence reflects self-worth because it shows that you trust your decisions and don't seek approval or validation. People often over-communicate to fill gaps in their self-esteem, feeling that explaining themselves or seeking reassurance will make them more accepted or understood. However, the true marker of confidence is the ability to remain silent and let your actions define you rather than your words. Those who speak less tend to command more respect because their silence conveys that they are grounded, composed, and comfortable with themselves. This kind of quiet confidence speaks louder than any explanation could. In romantic relationships, confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. When you are self-assured, you don't feel the need to explain or justify every action, thought, or decision to your partner. Instead, you allow your silence to communicate your sense of self-worth. This confidence shows that you are emotionally independent. You don't rely on constant validation or approval from your partner to feel secure in the relationship. Often, the need to explain or over-communicate stems from insecurity. But when you can hold your silence after making a decision or statement, you send a clear message. I know who I am, and I stand by my choices. This level of assurance is deeply attractive because it demonstrates that you are not seeking external validation. You are secure in yourself. For example, suppose you made a personal decision that your partner doesn't fully understand, or perhaps disagrees with. Instead of explaining yourself or trying to convince them of your reasoning, you calmly stand by your choice and remain silent when further explanation is unnecessary. Your silence communicates confidence. You trust yourself enough not to feel the need to explain or defend every decision. This makes you appear more independent, assured, and less emotionally dependent on their reaction. Confidence is naturally magnetic. Silence adds an element of mystery and strength, showing that you don't need approval to feel validated. Your partner will likely view you with greater respect, understanding that your confidence isn't reliant on their opinion. Silence in this context enhances attraction by projecting stability and self-worth. In social circles, whether in friendships or professional settings, not explaining every action or decision sends a message of quiet self-confidence. When you constantly feel the need to justify yourself or seek approval from others, it can signal insecurity. Conversely, choosing silence, particularly in situations where others may expect a response, shows that you are comfortable with your choices and identity. People tend to respect those who don't feel compelled to explain or over-explain themselves. When you make a decision and stand by it without needing to convince others, you command a higher level of respect. Your silence reflects that you trust yourself and your judgment, and you're not interested in chasing approval. In a work setting, imagine you make a strategic decision that others question or don't fully understand. Instead of engaging in lengthy explanations or defending your decision at every turn, let your actions speak. You move forward with confidence, knowing that time will prove the effectiveness of your decision. Your silence here shows that you are grounded and self-assured, which naturally earns you respect from your colleagues or peers. Silence signals that you are comfortable in your own skin and that you don't need to explain yourself to be validated. People respect those who stand by their decisions without constantly looking for reassurance. By holding back explanations and letting your work or actions speak for themselves, you project an image of competence and self-reliance, both highly respected traits in both personal and professional settings. In both romantic and social relationships, silence is a clear indicator of confidence and self-worth. When you choose to stay silent instead of seeking validation through words, you demonstrate that you are comfortable with yourself, secure in your choices, and not reliant on external approval. In romantic contexts, this self-assuredness strengthens attraction by showing that you are emotionally independent. In social and professional relationships, your silence naturally commands respect, as it communicates that you trust your own judgment and don't need to explain yourself to others. Ultimately, true confidence doesn't require words. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." By embracing silence, you prove that you embody the very qualities of confidence and self-worth without needing to verbalize them. Let your silence reflect your strength and allow others to see that you stand firm in who you are. Section 5. How silence shifts. The dynamic in romantic and social interactions. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. Abraham Lincoln, echoing Stoic thought. Silence has a powerful ability to shift the dynamics in any interaction. While people are often tempted to fill every moment with words, the Stoic philosophy and Abraham Lincoln's wisdom remind us that sometimes the best course of action is to remain silent. Silence can control the flow of an interaction, and, more importantly, it can shift the power dynamic in your favor. The less you react or speak, the more control you maintain over the situation. When you practice silence intentionally, you change the balance of power in conversations and interactions. In both romantic and social contexts, people expect immediate responses, explanations, or reactions. Choosing not to react or speak immediately removes the predictability and makes others more conscious of their own behavior. Silence commands attention. The less you say, the more weight your words and actions carry. This is because silence creates anticipation and intrigue. When you hold back from constantly contributing or reacting, others begin to notice that your silence holds meaning. Over time, this practice naturally shifts the power dynamics in your favor, as you become someone whose words and presence are valued more highly. In romantic relationships, silence is often more attractive than constant communication. While modern culture encourages frequent texting, validating, and explaining, the Stoic approach suggests that holding back, choosing not to respond immediately or seeking validation, actually increases your perceived value. When you're constantly available and verbal, you become predictable, and this predictability can diminish attraction. By using silence strategically, especially after key moments or during conflicts, you make yourself more mysterious. This silence allows the other person to reflect on you, and creates a space where they can become more curious about your thoughts and feelings. Mystery naturally fuels attraction, as people are drawn to what they cannot fully understand or possess. Imagine you've just spent a great evening with someone you're romantically interested in. Instead of immediately texting them or constantly following up, you choose to remain silent for a while, allowing the interaction to sink in. This makes the other person reflect on the evening and wonder about your thoughts, building curiosity and attraction in their mind. Your silence speaks louder than words, as it subtly suggests that you're confident, not seeking validation, and emotionally independent. Silence raises your perceived value in romantic relationships. When you're not constantly seeking validation, your partner sees you as someone in control of your emotions and desires, which is deeply attractive. The mystery that silence creates leaves room for reflection and curiosity, which strengthens the emotional bond and keeps the relationship exciting. In social and professional relationships, silence is a powerful way to command presence and respect. When you refrain from speaking unnecessarily or contributing to every conversation, you give more weight to the moments when you do speak. Those who are constantly vocal often have their words taken for granted, but those who are selectively vocal stand out. Consider a group discussion at work or among friends. While others rush to share their opinions and dominate the conversation, you remain silent, listening carefully. When you finally contribute, your words carry more weight because of the thoughtfulness behind them. Your silence has created an air of mystery and respect, making your input more valued than the noise that surrounds you. In social situations, silence creates anticipation. When people know that you don't speak often, they listen more carefully when you do. Your silence positions you as someone who is thoughtful, deliberate, and selective with their words, which naturally elevates your presence. Over time, this practice shifts the dynamic so that people value what you contribute more highly, knowing that when you speak, it's because you have something important to say. Whether in romantic or social relationships, silence shifts the balance of power in your favor. The less you speak, the more others will be drawn to your presence, words, and actions. Silence allows you to remain in control, commanding respect and attention without having to fight for it. In romantic contexts, silence increases your desirability, making you more mysterious and emotionally independent. In social or professional settings, your selective use of words commands respect and elevates your influence. Ultimately, silence speaks volumes. It says that you are confident, in control, and comfortable with yourself. By mastering the art of silence, you naturally shift the dynamics of any relationship, making your presence more powerful and your words more meaningful. Section 6. Silence as a strategy for long-term respect. If you are silent, you are forgotten. If you speak too much, you are hated. Speak when the occasion calls for it. African proverb, Stoic wisdom in action. There is immense wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. The art of silence, when practiced intentionally, fosters long-term respect in both romantic and social relationships. As this African proverb and Stoic philosophy highlight, silence is a tool that, when used wisely, reflects emotional control, restraint, and thoughtful engagement. Over time, people come to respect those who speak when it's necessary, rather than those who speak just to be heard. Silence, when used strategically, demonstrates wisdom and control over your emotions. In any relationship, be it romantic or social, not every situation calls for a response. Those who master the art of silence know that words, when used sparingly and thoughtfully, carry much greater weight. By choosing when to engage and when to hold back, You show that you are mindful of your words and actions, which naturally leads others to respect you more over time. In a long-term romantic relationship, respect is key to maintaining a healthy, balanced connection. Many people feel the urge to always explain themselves, justify their actions, or react to every disagreement. However, knowing when to speak and when to stay silent is a sign of emotional maturity. When you practice silence at the right moments, you show that you're intentional with your words. Over time, your partner will come to respect the gravity of your silence, understanding that when you do speak, it carries more weight. Imagine a scenario where you and your partner are in the middle of a heated argument. Instead of reacting immediately or escalating the situation, you choose silence. In doing so, you create space for both of you to calm down and reflect on the situation before speaking. When you do respond, your words come from a place of clarity and thoughtfulness, showing that you don't speak out of emotion, but out of intention. Over time, this approach builds deep respect, as your partner recognizes that your words are meaningful and not driven by impulsive reactions. In long-term relationships, constant talking can diminish the impact of your words. But when you speak with intention, after moments of silence, you demonstrate that you value thoughtfulness and consideration. Your silence fosters respect because it shows that you are emotionally in control and do not need to prove yourself through excessive communication. In social settings, whether with friends or in professional environments, silence shows discretion. People respect those who are thoughtful and deliberate in their communication, and silence reflects these traits. Not every thought needs to be voiced, and in fact, holding back from sharing every opinion or participating in every conversation often makes people more curious and respectful of you. For example, at a workplace meeting or in a social gathering, instead of speaking up at every opportunity, you choose to listen carefully, engaging only when necessary. When you finally do speak, your words carry more weight because people know that you've been selective in your contributions. This discretion makes you stand out as someone who thinks before they act or speak, cultivating deeper trust and respect from those around you. In both friendships and professional settings, silence shows wisdom and self-control. People value those who are restrained in their communication because it signals that you take time to reflect before acting. Over time, this earns you respect and trust, as others see you as someone who chooses words carefully and doesn't seek attention for the sake of it. Silence is a powerful tool for cultivating long-term respect. Whether you're navigating the complexities of a long-term romantic relationship or building your professional network, knowing when to speak and when to remain silent sets you apart as someone who is emotionally mature, thoughtful, and wise. In romantic relationships, silence shows that you value your words and don't feel the need to constantly explain or defend yourself. Over time, this approach deepens your partner's respect for you, as they see that your words carry meaning and intention. In social and professional settings, silence reflects discretion and thoughtfulness. It demonstrates that you are someone who thinks before speaking, which naturally fosters respect and trust from others. Ultimately, the ability to speak only when the occasion calls for it, and to practice silence when it doesn't, reflects a deep level of self-control, emotional intelligence, and wisdom. Silence is not a void. It is a strategic tool that, when used properly, elevates the way people perceive and respect you in all areas of your life. Section 7. The Stoic Way. Let the silence scream in her mind or whoever you want. In silence, we find not only peace, but power. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that silence is far from passive. It's an active tool of influence. Words often lose their impact when overused, But silence, when applied with intention, leaves a deep impression. It communicates strength, wisdom, and emotional control. In both romantic and social settings, strategic silence can shift dynamics, creating intrigue and leaving a more lasting impression than words ever could. Stoicism frames silence not as withdrawal, but as a powerful act. It's a deliberate choice that allows you to assert control over your environment and relationships without even speaking. Silence doesn't mean inaction. It means you are engaging on a deeper, more thoughtful level. And in doing so, you create a space where others have no choice but to reflect on you. This kind of silence is loud. It resonates long after the moment passes. In romantic relationships, silence can scream louder than any words, particularly in emotional exchanges. When people typically expect immediate reactions, your decision to remain silent can leave a lasting impression. Strategic silence builds intrigue and attraction by making you less predictable and more mysterious. This unpredictability keeps the other person curious, constantly wondering about your thoughts and feelings. Imagine you're in a conversation where emotions are running high. Perhaps your partner is upset or seeking validation. Instead of responding immediately or getting defensive, you choose silence. In this moment, your calm, quiet demeanor contrasts with the emotional intensity, making you appear more controlled and composed. This silence lingers, and your partner is left to wonder about your thoughts. That uncertainty, created by your silence, fuels attraction and curiosity. In love, attraction thrives on mystery and desire. Silence keeps you from being fully understood or predictable, which makes the other person feel a stronger emotional pull toward you. By holding back during key moments, you demonstrate self-control and emotional independence, traits that increase your desirability and create a deeper sense of curiosity in your partner's mind. Your silence speaks volumes, reinforcing the idea that you are confident enough not to rush into reactions or explanations. In social situations, silence can elevate your presence and leave a deeper impact than constant conversation. People notice those who speak less but communicate through their actions, body language, and selective use of words. In social circles or professional settings, choosing silence over unnecessary input makes you stand out as someone who is thoughtful and discerning. This kind of presence can be more powerful than trying to dominate the conversation. For example, in a work meeting or a group setting with friends, instead of jumping into the conversation with opinions at every opportunity, you choose to remain silent, listening carefully. When you do eventually contribute, your words hold more weight because people have been waiting to hear from you. Your silence has already communicated calm confidence and self-assurance, which makes your input more impactful and memorable. Silence in social settings shows that you are not desperate for attention or validation. You are selective with your words, which leads others to value your contributions more highly. Additionally, nonverbal cues such as body language, eye contact, and presence become more pronounced in your silence, allowing you to convey confidence and strength without saying a word. Over time, this approach earns you respect and makes your presence more powerful in any social interaction. The Stoic perspective teaches that silence is far from passive. It is a powerful, active tool for influence. Whether in romantic or social contexts, strategic silence leaves a stronger, more lasting impression than constant talking. In romantic relationships, silence builds intrigue and attraction, making you more desirable by creating space for curiosity and reflection. In social settings, silence elevates your presence, making others more attentive to your words when you do speak, and more respectful of your restraint. By allowing silence to scream in key moments, you maintain control over your emotions and interactions, leaving those around you with a lasting sense of respect, curiosity, and admiration. The Stoic way teaches us that true power lies in knowing when to remain silent and letting that silence speak louder than words ever could. In both romantic and social relationships, silence is a tool of immense power. It reflects emotional control, self-worth, and confidence, while also creating an air of mystery that naturally fosters respect. When used strategically, silence can shift the dynamics of any relationship, allowing you to maintain control, build intrigue, and command respect without saying a word. As you navigate your relationships, whether with a partner, friends, or colleagues, remember that silence can scream louder than words. It's a tool that, when applied with intention, speaks volumes about your confidence, emotional mastery, and sense of self-worth. Let your silence speak for you, and in doing so, leave a lasting impression that others won't forget. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this message valuable, please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue growing together, one step at a time.